Okay, so Daddy's gonna read to you this book called Smiling Proud Wanderer. It's from webnovel.com. It's a fan translation if you want to go there and read along. It's a pretty good translation. There are issues with it, but overall it's pretty good and it's made by fans, so can't complain, right? And yeah, so that means I can read it because it's not copyrighted, I think. I hope. All right, you ready? Let's do this. I'll try to explain things along the way too. Yeah. Okay, chapter 1, Massacre. Also, I'm not a voice actor, but I'll try. I don't know how this is going to go. Spring was always a relaxing time of the year. The breeze gently brushed the willow trees and wildflowers, causing the air to be filled with the pleasant scent of the season. The Westgate Boulevard of Fuzhou was a stone slab road that extended all the way to the west gate of the town. So Fuzhou is a town, I think, in the southeast of China. A huge mansion stood south of the street with a tall flagpole on either side of its gate. The flagpoles were about 20 feet tall, each with a huge green banner streaming in the wind. The banner on the left was embroidered in yellow silk, bearing the image of a majestic lion. As the banner fluttered back and forth in the wind, the lion seemed as though it had come alive and were about to jump down at any time. Just above the lion's head was a pair of bats embroidered in black silk, waving their wings in flying motion. The banner on the right bore 4 huge words in black that read Fortune Prestige Escort House, all written in a bold, vigorous hand. So, Fortune Prestige Escort House. And now we see this huge mansion with a sign that says Fortune Prestige Escort House. Escort House is not what you think, you dirty, dirty person. Escort House is like a security service, a private security service. So back then, the streets were dangerous, right? There were bandits all over the place. So sometimes if you're moving from town to town, you might want to hire a security, someone who knows how to do martial arts, basically. Or if you're a merchant and you need to travel from town to town to town, then you might want to hire an escort, right? So this chapter is about the people in this business, this security business. The house itself had a large vermilion gate. Teacup-sized copper studs on the gate shone in the bright sunlight. Above the gate, characters in gold lacquer were inscribed on a huge sign reading Fortune Prestige Escort House, and slightly below, the word headquarters was engraved in a smaller font. So this is their headquarters. Beyond the gate were 2 rows of benches bordering a path, and sitting upon those benches were 8 guards in house uniform, with their faces animated with excitement. Sounds of hoofbeats came from the backyard of the court. All 8 guards sprang up and rushed out of the gate. 5 horses galloped out from the side door on the west of the mansion and stopped directly in front of the gate. Leading the pack was a beautiful horse, white as snow, with a silver bridle and stirrups. A young man in silk clothing, roughly 18 years of age, sat on the horse with a sword hanging from his belt and a bow strapped onto his back. A hunting falcon perched on his left shoulder as the horse strode along the street. The 4 horsemen following him were all dressed in tight black outfits. "The young master is going hunting," 3 guards shouted in unison. The young man smiled and cracked his whip in the air cockily. Answering the command, the white horse neighed happily and dashed along the stone slab road. "Escort she," one of the guards yelled out. "How about bringing back a wild boar so we can all have a feast?" A 40-year-old horseman trailing behind grinned back. "Don't worry, I will make sure to save the boar's tail for you. Just don't get drunk before we get back." Amid the loud laughter, the 5 horsemen vanished like the wind. Just after they exited the town gate, Linfamy, the young master of the escort house, spurred his horse lightly. So Linfamy is one of the major characters. So we're introduced to him. He is the heir of this escort house business. All right, how am I doing, you guys? How am I doing? Skippadoo. Hi, Skippadoo. Skippity-doo-dah, skippity-yay. Amanda Wong. Hey, Amanda. How's it going? Ethan Chu. Lovable Lily Pup account number 2. Lovable Lily Pup account number 2. I like that. FIFA 900 says, when will Lu Bu show up? Maybe. Alright, where was I? So yeah, we're introduced to Lin Pingji, one of the major characters. The horse picked up speed and soon left the rest of the pack far behind. After riding onto a small slope, he set the falcon to work. Minutes later, a pair of yellow rabbits was flushed out from the bushes. Lin Pingji quickly grabbed the bow from his back, pulling out an arrow from his saddlebag. He took aim and shot in one smooth action. The rabbit was down, with one more to go. But by the time he pulled out another arrow, it was ready to shoot again. The other rabbit had disappeared behind the bushes. Escort Jung rode by with a smile. Nice shot, young master, he praised. Young master, hurry, we found pheasants here, henchman Bai shouted in the woods to the left. Yeah. Escort, I think henchman is below escort in rank. I'm not sure. Lin Pingji, our major character, rushed over and saw a pheasant flying out from the bushes, heading directly toward his head. He pulled out an arrow rapidly and fired at the pheasant, but missed. Out of reflex, he lashed his whip at the pheasant. With a cracking sound, the pheasant fell to the ground, bright and colorful feathers scattering in all directions. All 5 cheered. That's kind of sad. What a swift lash! Even a large griffin wouldn't escape that, Escort Shi exclaimed. The party hunted in the woods for over 4 hours, intending to let the young master have a good time. The 2 escorts, Shi and Zheng, and the 2 henchmen, Bai and Chen, always drove the prey toward the young man, even when they themselves had the better shot. Well, that's how you do it, guys. By the end of the hunt, Lin Pingji had shot 2 more rabbits and 2 more pheasants, but young Master Lin wanted to hunt more. Not realizing enough excitement from small prey, he yearned for larger game. Let's go a bit deeper into the woods and see what we can find, he exclaimed eagerly. Wait, he's 18 years old, he's kind of young. Let's go a bit deeper into the woods and see what we can find, he exclaimed eagerly. Escort Shi thought to himself, if we go too deep into the woods, as the young master wishes, he probably won't quit until after dark. Surely the madam will complain when we get back. That won't be good. So he replied, it is quite late already. There are lots of sharp rocks around that might damage the hooves of your white horse. Why don't we try our luck again early tomorrow morning? He knew that it would be very hard to persuade the stubborn young master, but Lin Pingji loved his white horse so much that he wouldn't risk any chance to injure his precious pet. The horse had been given to Lin Pingji as a present on his 17th birthday 2 years ago. The colt had come from a foreign country and cost his grandmother in Luoyang a fair amount of gold. Just as she had expected, his suggestion worked. My snow dragon is clever enough not to step on sharp rocks, but I am not so sure about your horses. All right, let's head back then. We wouldn't want henchman Chen to crack his bottom somewhere on those sharp rocks, would we? Grinned Lin Pingji, patting his horse on the neck. Howling with laughter, all 5 turned around and started heading back home. Lin Pingji rode ahead of everyone else, but did not take the same route by which they had come. Instead, he turned north and sprinted forward. Satisfied after some rapid riding, he finally reined in the horse and let it trot slowly. The sign of a wine shop emerged from one side of the road not far ahead. Young master, how about a drink here? The fresh rabbits and pheasants we've got would go perfectly with some good wine, Escort Zheng suggested. So you didn't come out for hunting, but rather for drinking, did you? I suppose if I don't bribe you with some drinks, you wouldn't want to come out again tomorrow. Lin Pingji grinned as he dismounted and started walking toward the wine shop. Normally, the owner of the wine shop, Old Kai, would have hurried out to take the reins and flattered Lin with some praise. Well, looky there, the young master's gotten so much game today. Ain't he great? There ain't many who can match his skills, old Kai would exclaim. But today, when they came to the door, they were greeted with complete silence. A girl dressed in green stood by the wine vat, with her hair done up in 2 buns with a hairpin through each. She seemed to be busy with it. She was facing inside and seemed to have no intention of turning around. "Where is old Kai? Get out and tether our horses," Escort Zheng yelled impatiently. Henchmen Bai and Chen pulled out a bench, brushed off the dust with their sleeves, and let Lin Pingji down. The 2 escorts sat with Lin Pingji, and the 2 henchmen sat down at another table. Coughing sounds floated out from the back room, and moments later, a gray-haired old man walked out. "Welcome, sirs. Can I bring you some wine?" The old man greeted the group of 5 in a distinctly northern accent. "Do we look like we are here for tea?" Escort Zheng retorted. "Of course we want wine. Get us 3 jugs of bamboo green. Where's old Kai? What's going on? Are you the new owner here?" "Yes, sir. Coming right up. Waner, bring 3 jugs of bamboo green," the old man said to the girl. "To be frank with you, misters, my name is Sa. I was born in this town, but I left to be a trader when I was young. Recently, my son and my daughter-in-law had both passed away. I figured that no matter how tall a tree is, its leaves will always fall to the roots. So I brought my granddaughter back to my hometown. But since I've been gone for over 40-something years, my relatives and my friends had either passed away or left town. Luckily, the previous owner of this wine shop, old Kai, happened to want out, so he sold it to me for 30 taels of silver. I am finally back now. I feel happy just listening to the hometown dialect. But it's so embarrassing that I've totally forgotten the dialect myself." All right, so yeah, they come to this restaurant and they're sitting down, and some shit's gonna go down, guys. Stuff's gonna go down. I read this before a long time ago, like when I was young, and this is all I've forgotten a lot of it, but this is very nostalgic for me. Eliza Clark, who doesn't want tea though? Adam Atlas. Bamboo green is a wine made with young bamboo shoots. Oh, thanks, Adam. Frank Castle. Oh, it's live. I'm sorry. Sorry, it's live. Hannah Gansky. Seriously, tea is the best. I know, right? I don't have tea, but I do have this. What am I drinking? I am drinking Heineken and water, because it's a lot of reading. Joel Bridge. Yeah, you need to make a drink, Joel. Alright, the girl in the green robe came back with a wooden tray. She set down the bowls and chopsticks, and then placed 3 jugs of wine on the table. When she finished, she walked away with her head down, not even glancing at the customers. Lin Pingji watched as the girl walked away. She had a slim figure, but her skin was dark and rough. Pox marks covered her face, which made the face appear to be very ugly. Lin Pingji thought that the reason she was so rigid was probably because she had only started waiting tables not too long ago, so he paid her no more attention. Escort Shi brought out a pheasant and a yellow rabbit and handed them to Old Man Sa. "Clean them up and cook them well," he ordered. "Yes, sir, right away. Would you like some jerky and peanuts to go with the wine, sirs?" Old Man Sa asked. Wanderer placed some beef jerky and peanuts on the table, not waiting for Old Man Sa's order. "Our young Mr. Lin here," I think that should be master. "Our young Master Lin here is the young master of the Fortune Prestige Escort House. He helps out needy people all the time. Money, to him, is like dirt. If you cook the 2 dishes well and make his stomach happy, you can easily make back that 30 taels investment you spent in a matter of months," Escort Zheng introduced. "Oh, yes, many thanks," Old Man Sa answered cheerfully as he picked up the pheasant and the rabbit and went into the kitchen. Escort Zheng poured the wine into all 3 cups. Raising his own cup, he poured all of it down his throat. Then, after smacking his lips a few times, he said contentedly, "The owner changed, but fortunately the wine is still the same." He poured himself another cup and was just about to drink it, when suddenly the drum of hoofbeats rose from a distance and then came to an abrupt stop outside the shop. Two horsemen rode in from the north. Traveling at a blazing speed, they arrived at the small shop in no time at all. "Hey, it's a wine shop. Let's go in for a couple of drinks," one of the riders shouted. Escort Shi recognized that the speaker had a distinct accent of Western Sichuan. He turned around and spotted two men in purple robes. They tied the reins of their horses to the big banyan tree outside the... Is that how you say it? Banyan tree? Outside the shop and walked in. Giving the escorts a casual glance, they made a big display of sitting down. Both had a strip of white cloth wrapped around their foreheads. At first glance, with their purple robes, they seemed to be fairly cultured people. But since both had bare legs showing in the open and bare feet in hemp shoes, they were unlikely to be so. So, since they had bare legs and bare feet, that means they may be from a part of the country that's poor, that's not as cultured, not as rich. Escort Shi knew that most people from Sichuan dressed in this manner. The strips of white cloth worn on their foreheads were in mourning for the death of Marquis Zhuge Liang. The Marquis he's very famous. The Marquis did so many great things for the people of Sichuan and was so well respected that even 1,000 years after his death, people still wore white mourning cloths on their foreheads in his memory. Yeah, so mourning cloths are these white things that you wear after someone in your family has died. So apparently these people are wearing that for Zhuge Liang. Actually, you guys think we should read these references? Maybe we should, right? Go number 7. So it is an old tradition in China that when a relative or official in great power... Okay, that's what I said. People tie white cloth to their foreheads to show respect. Then number 8. Marquis Zhuge... How do I say it? Zhuge Liang was a very famous and well-respected military counselor in Sichuan of ancient China. Lin Pingji had never seen people dressed like this before. Their dress looks neither civilian nor martial. Very strange indeed, he thought aloud. "Wine! Get me some wine! So many damn mountains here. Our horses are really tired out," the younger of the two yelled out. "What can I get for you?" Wan walked to their table and asked. She looked down at the floor while asking the question, so that the two could not see her face. Her voice was low, but sounded very clear and pleasant. The younger man was dazed for a second. And unexpectedly, his right hand shot out and raised Wanner's chin. "What a pity," he snickered. Wanner gasped and quickly drew herself back. So you can tell this guy is not a good dude. The younger man's companion burst into laughter. "Brother Yu, this chick has a nice body, but as for her face, look how pockmarked it is, just like the inside of a pomegranate." The younger man laughed even louder. Lin Pingji's anger flared. He slapped the table hard and shouted, "What kind of creatures are you, you blind scoundrels? How dare you come to Fuzhou and behave so ill-mannered?" "Hey, Jia Jr., somebody seems really upset. What do you think this sissy is referring to?" So, I don't know if that's a good translation, but yeah, we'll go with it. "Who do you think this sissy is referring to?" the younger fellow, Yu, said with a smirk. Lin Pingji was fair of face and looked much like his mother. Even under normal circumstances, he would have slapped someone just for staring at him. Hearing the word sissy, his temper flared. He grabbed a tin kettle from the table and hurled it at the two men. Yu shifted back slightly. The kettle missed him and sailed out the door, landing on the lawn outside. Wine from the kettle splashed everywhere. Escorts Shi and Zheng sprang up immediately and rushed up to the two men. "This boy should play a little bitch in the opera. He would seduce quite a few men, but I doubt he's any good at fighting." Yu grinned sneeringly. "This is the young Master Lin from the Fortune Prestige Escort House. You've really got your nerve to offend him, Escort Jung hollered. As he spat out the last word, his left fist was already on its way toward Yu's face. Yu deflected the punch with his left palm, then grabbed Jung's wrist and pulled hard. Escort Jung lost his balance and fell forward toward the table. Yu then struck Jung's neck with his left elbow. With a crash, the table collapsed to the ground along with Jung. Although Jung was not in the top echelon of fighters at the escort house, he was not at the bottom either. Seeing that Escort Jung had been knocked down by Yu with just one move, Escort Shi knew the two would make tough opponents. Alright, so in summary, they were eating at this restaurant, and these two guys, these two foreigners, come in, and they just start trouble, right? They kind of harass this, the female waitress, and Lin Pingji throws what do you call it? What do you throw? Throw a tea kettle at him, right? And then they start fighting. And turns out these two guys are pretty good at fighting, right? Small Wolfie. Hi, Small Wolfie. How's it going? Crystal Burns says, haha. Well, yes. Yes, it was a kettle. Damon Moon Spirit. Why do people do that? Why do people do what? Latoya Thunderstar. I like the storytelling project video. Thank you. Would you like some water? I would like some water. All right. So this is the escort Shi asking, friends, who are you? Looks like you know Kung Fu. Haven't you heard of the Fortune Prestige Escort House? Fortune Prestige Escort House? Never heard of it. What the hell is that? Yu smirked. We are in the business of teaching manners to lowlifes, such as you, Lin Pingji leapt over with a roar. He struck out with his left hand, but before fully extending his arm, his right hand struck out from underneath his left hand. This maneuver was called Cloud Concealed Glare, and was a move from the Lin family's Kung Fu style of universal hands. Alright, so you see a lot of this. You will see a lot of this in these books. All the moves, they have names to them, right? And they sound cool in Chinese and in Eastern languages like Vietnamese, but it sounds pretty corny in English. It's okay though. Move past it. Oh, this sissy boy actually knows a few tricks, Yu exclaimed mockingly, blocking the blow with his left hand and stretching out his right hand to grab Lin Pingji's shoulder. Lin Pingji lowered his right shoulder in evasion and attempted to punch Yu with his left fist. Yu ducked his head from the punch, but to his surprise, Lin Pingji's fist opened and changed from a punch to a palm strike. With the move called Flowers in the Fog, he slapped Yu hard across the face. Now Yu went berserk. He threw a kick at Lin Pingji, who stepped to the right and returned a kick at Yu. While the two fought, Escort Shi had already engaged in a fight with Jia, and Jia is the other guy. So there are two foreigners, right? Jia is the other one. Lin Pingji is fighting with Yu, and his escorts were fighting with Jia. And henchman Bai helped escort Zheng up from the ground. Swearing at the top of his lungs, Zheng leapt forward and joined Lin Pingji in the fight against Yu. Go help Escort Shi. I can handle this punk, Lin Pingji shouted. Escort Zheng knew that the young master always wanted to best others and did not want extra help. So he picked up a broken table leg and swung it at Jia's head. In the meantime, the two henchmen had run outside. One took Lin Pingji's sword, which was hanging from the saddle, while the other grabbed a hunting fork. And then both started pouring out all manner of profanity at the top of their lungs. Retainers of the escort house were not good fighters, but because they were the ones shouting out the escort songs during trips, they all had loud voices. They cursed in the local dialect. The two men from Sichuan had no clue as to what they were saying, but they knew that it must have been something quite uncomplimentary. So there are, in Lin Pingji's group, there are two escorts and there are two henchmen. Looks like the two henchmen can't fight, but what they can do. But even though they can't fight, they can do the next best thing, which is to stand on the sidelines shouting profanity, right? Like cheerleaders. Lin Pingji is focused on using moves from the universal hand style to fight you. He had practiced this form with many escorts in the escort house, partly because this form of martial art was indeed excellent, and partly because no one from the escort house who valued his employment was stupid enough to beat the young master. Thus, even though Lin Pingji had a good understanding of the form, he did not have much actual fighting experience. He had fought some local rascals in Fuzhou before. However, no street thug would prevail against the fighting style of the great Lin family. In less than 3 moves, they would all end up running away, with either a swollen face or a bloody nose. But things were quite different this time. After only a dozen or so moves, Lin Pingji had to swallow his pride and admit that his opponent was really tough. Oh, Tercero. Hey, how's it going? Thank you so much for your donation. Tercero says, truly seductive reading voice. Much love, Lin. Thank you so much. And then, okay, how do I do this? I've never done this before. We got some super chat. Soro Erie, $10. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. While the two exchanged punches, Yu is one of the foreigners, kept taunting Lin Pingji with insults. Hey, buddy, the more I look at you, the more you look like a girl dressed as a guy. Look at those lovely cheeks of yours. Why don't we stop fighting so I can give you a big kiss? What do you say? Lin Pingji was enraged. He glanced over at escorts Shi and Zheng, only to find that they were not faring well, even though it was 2 against 1. Zheng had been punched hard on the nose. Blood was all over his face and his clothes. Lin Pingji hastened his moves and, unexpectedly, was able to slap Yu in the face a second time. It was a heavy slap. Son of a turtle! Son of a turtle! Yu snarled. I was just playing with you, you loser. Oh. Shouldn't say that word. You want to fight for real now? He suddenly changed his tactics and sped up his moves. Punches poured down upon Lin Pingji like a thunderstorm. The two fought from the inside of the shop to the outside. Seeing a punch aimed directly at his solar plexus, Lin Pingji remembered the release block technique his father had taught him, so he tried to block it with his left arm. But Yu's punch was so powerful that he failed to stop it. The punch sent a shock throughout his entire body, and before he was able to gather himself, Yu's left hand grabbed him by the collar. Yu jerked him down hard. Lin Pingji's torso caved into Yu's strength and leaned forward. In the next second, Yu's right arm was already pushing down on the back of Lin Pingji's neck with a move called the Iron Threshold. You son of a turtle! If you kowtow to me, that's bowing. If you kowtow to me and call me great uncle 3 times, I might let you go. Yu laughed scornfully. So it looks like Yu is just playing with this guy. His martial arts is so good. Escorts Shi and Zheng were stunned. They wanted to rush over and rescue Lin Pingji, but were kept at bay by Jia's non-stop kicks and punches. Henchman Bai thrust the hunting fork at Yu's back. Punk, let go of him. Who the hell do you think you are? He yelled loudly. Yu threw a reverse kick with his left foot, which knocked the fork out of Bai's grip and sent it flying into the air. He immediately followed with another backward kick using his right foot, sending Henchman Bai rolling to the ground. You stinking turtle egg! This is him. This is one of the henchmen throwing insults. You stinking turtle egg! The hell with you! Your grandma has no eyeballs! Henchman Chen started cursing, but with each curse he took a step back. So after 8 or 9 of them, he was already far from the scene of the fight. That's a smart man, that guy. Hey, sissy boy, are you going to kowtow or not? Yu laughed. He pushed down even harder, pressing Lin Pingji's head almost to the ground. Lin Pingji tried to punch at Yu's stomach, but the punches always fell a few inches short. Lin felt unbearable pain from his neck, as if his neck was going to break. Sparkles glittered in front of his eyes, and his eardrums were filled with buzzing sounds. He clawed and scratched like a wild cat, when suddenly his fingers came upon a hard object that was strapped on his shin. Without thinking, he pulled it out and stabbed it at Yu with all his might. Yu let out a sudden shriek and let go of Lin Pingji. Dread and terror covered his face as Yu stumbled back in disbelief. The dagger had pierced through his stomach all the way, leaving only the handle showing. He was facing west, and the golden handle of the dagger glinted crazily in the rays of the setting sun. He opened his mouth wide, but nothing came out. He reached for the dagger with his hand, but then paused, too afraid to touch the shining handle. Stumbling back several steps, Linping also looked on in shock. His heart almost jumped out of his throat. Jia and the two escorts stopped fighting and looked at Yu in astonishment. Yu finally gathered enough courage to grab the protruding handle. Blood gushed from the wound as he pulled out the dagger. The onlookers cried out in disbelief. Jia! Jia! Tell my father. Seek vengeance. For... Yu hissed before dropping the dagger and fell forward onto the ground. His torso twitched a few times and finally stopped moving. Uh-oh. The plot thickens. So it turns out Linping, one of our major characters, killed this guy. And he says tell his father to avenge him. And kind of get the idea that his father is someone important. Okay. M's P says already first death. Yep, first death. First of many. Adam Atlas. Pretty sure they aren't calling each other turtle. Oh, maybe. Maybe they're different. FIFA 900 says, these insults, it's over 9,000. All right. You guys, reading is hard. Like, I had to drink a lot of water. Drinking beer probably doesn't help either. Oh, if I get you might see me get Asian glow. Because I get that. MZ, yep, got noticed. Hi. Hello. Brother Yu! Jia rushed to his side and cried out bitterly. Get your weapons, Escort Shi whispered. He darted to his horse and drew out his long knife. As an experienced escort, he knew only too well that Jia would stop at nothing to avenge the death of his companion. Jia glared murderously at Linping for a few seconds, and then quickly retrieved the dagger from the ground and dashed to his horse. He mounted in a hurry, wasting no time in untying the rein. In a swift slash, he cut the horse loose with the dagger. Jia spurred his horse hard, and within moments, both the horse and its rider disappeared into the northern horizon. So the second foreigner, Jia, runs away. Henchman Chen walked up to the body and kicked it hard, sending it rolling over. Blood continued to gush from the wound. You big moron, how dare you insult our young master? Now you've learned your lesson. But Linping had never killed anyone before. His face turned pale in fright. Escort Shi, what shall we do? I didn't mean to kill him. His voice trembled. Escort Shi pondered to himself. The Fortune Prestige Escort House has been around for 3 generations. Getting into fights and having people die on the job is simply unavoidable. But normally the victims are either bandits or unorthodox members of the martial world. And these fights usually happen in some remote mountains or deep forests. Afterwards, we simply bury the corpses and forget about the whole thing. Of course, the bandits would never go to the authorities and report the killing. But this time, the victim was obviously not a bandit. And the scene is close to a populated area. Murder is no small crime. Even the son of a governor or mayor wouldn't be able to get off easily if they committed such a crime, let alone the young master of an escort house. Reflecting upon these facts, he came to a decision. Let's move the body into the shop, he said with a frown. It's too close to the road here. We don't want anyone to see this. Luckily, it was already quite late, and there was no one passing by. Henchmen Bai and Chen hauled the body into the shop. Young master, do you have any money on you? Escort Shi whispered to Linping. Yeah, I do, Linping answered anxiously as he took all of his money out in a hurry. There were about 20 taels of silver in all. Escort Shi took the silver and walked into the shop. Setting the money on the table, he said, Wuxia, that's the owner of the shop. This outsider was harassing your granddaughter, and our young master was just trying to help. He didn't want to kill the man, but he had no choice. All of us witnessed the whole event. The incident originated because of you. So if anybody blows the whistle, no one will get away with it. Take the money. Take the money. And just forget about the whole thing. We'll get rid of the body and pretend nothing happened here. Do you understand? Yes, Old Sa nodded. Killing a few gangsters is a piece of cake for us when we escort cargoes, Escort Zheng exclaimed. These two Sichuan rats behaved so suspiciously, I bet they were either burglars or rapists. They must have come to Fuzhou looking for crimes to commit. Our young master saw through their disguises and took care of them for the safety of the town. He should have gone to the authorities for a reward, but our young master does not want to go through all that trouble, and he doesn't really care about this kind of fame. You, old friend, better keep your mouth shut. If you let anything out, we will say that you are their accomplice and that you were just using this wine shop as cover to spy for them. From your accent, anyone could tell that you're not from here. People would say, how did those two just happen to show up right after you took over the shop? What a coincidence. I won't say anything. I know nothing, Old Sa said hurriedly in compliance. Led by Escort Shi, Henchman Bai, and Chen, buried the body in the garden behind the shop. They also cleaned up all the bloodstains in front of the door. If we don't hear anything unusual in 10 days, Escort Zheng said to Old Sa, you'll get yourself another 50 taels of silver. But if you really feel like telling stories, when the Fortune Prestige Escort House has killed hundreds of bandits, well, the Fortune Prestige Escort House has killed hundreds of bandits before. It wouldn't be any trouble to plant 2 more bodies in your garden, would it? We won't dare! We won't dare! Thanks, many thanks, Old Sa complied yet again. It was already dark outside by the time everything was finally handled. Lin Pingji relaxed a little, but still felt uneasiness as he went back to the escort house. When he entered the front hall, he saw his father sitting in a wooden armchair, his eyes shut, lost in thought. So Lin Pingji's father is the owner of the escort house. Now, apparently this escort house is pretty big, okay? They have branches in multiple cities, but this is their main branch, their headquarters. Dad, Lin Pingji called. Went hunting? Caught any boars? Lin Jinan opened his eyes and asked with a smile. So Lin Jinan is the father. No, Lin Pingji replied. Lin Pingji lifted the pipe in his hands and suddenly struck downward toward Lin Pingji's shoulder. Take that, he exclaimed. Lin Pingji knew that his father always liked to impulsively check up on his progress in fighting skills. Typically, he would have countered this plunging comic star, the 26th move in the evil resisting sword art, with the Buddha blossom. Okay. Yeah, see what I mean? There's a lot of moves, right? So typically he would have countered this plunging comic star, which is the move that his dad attacked him with. The 26th move in the evil resisting sword art, which is the style or the name of that sword style, or the martial arts style. With the Buddha blossom, which is another move, the 46th move in that style. But his mind was so burdened by the incidents at the wine shop that he thought his father had already learned about the incidents and was bestowing his punishment with his pipe. He dared not move, crying out plaintively, Father! Lin Jinan's pipe halted just about 3 inches from his son's shoulder. What's with you today? You think you'd have the shoulder? You think you'd still have the shoulder when you are actually fighting someone? If you were this clumsy? Lin Jinan asked. Although the words were harsh, a smile played about his mouth. Alright, so to summarize, they kill one of the foreigners. They bury his body behind the shop, and they bribed the shop owner to keep his mouth shut, right? And now he's back. Lin Pingji is back at home with his father. Amanda Wong says, low battery. Yeah, better get that fixed. Buddha Blossom. People like the Buddha Blossom move in the chat. Daka Orc says, this is one of Louis Cha's best work, in my opinion. Me too. I love this novel. This is one of my favorites. Maya says, bribe with a healthy helping of threats. That's right. The best kind of bribes. All right, so it looks like his father does not know what's going on. Understood, Lin Pingji responded. He dropped his left shoulder and rapidly spun his body around, stepping behind his father. Snatching up a feather duster from the tea table, he thrust it at Lin Jaenan's back. This was the move called the Buddha Blossom. See how cool they are? They can fight with feather dusters. That's the right move, Lin Jaenan nodded in approval. He passed his pipe across his back and parried the thrust, then countered with a move known as the flute play on the river. So the son is fighting with a feather duster, and the father is fighting with a pipe. Lin Pingji was much more focused now. He blocked the attack with purple mist eastbound. The father and son fought until after roughly 50 moves, when Lin Jaenan swiftly poked his son on the chest just below his right nipple with the handle of his pipe. Not able to fend off the attack in time, Lin Pingji felt a sudden soreness in his right arm and dropped the feather duster immediately. Good, very good. You have shown progress every single day of this month. You lasted 4 more moves than yesterday. Lin Jaenan smiled gleefully and sat back down. Pingji, guess what? Our escort house has received wonderful news today, he announced while filling his pipe with fresh tobacco leaves. Lin Pingji took out a firestone and lit the pipe for his father. Did you just sign off on a big business deal today? He inquired. Lin Jaenan shook his head. As long as our escort house offers good services, business will come to us. Our only concern is our own ability. Are we capable of fulfilling big contracts when they do come to us? He inhaled deeply and then blew out a cloud of smoke. Escort Zhang sent us a message from Hunan. From Hunan. Hunan? How do you pronounce that? Hunan. There's a reference here. Let's see what it says. Hunan is a neighbor province northwest of Fujian province. Adam Atlas says, Linfamy, you should stream on Twitch. What is the difference between streaming here and streaming on Twitch? I'm a noob. Hunan. Hunan. Master Yu of the Pine Wind Temple, the master of the Qingcheng Sword School in Western Sichuan, has accepted our gifts. Hearing the words Western Sichuan and Master Yu, Lin Pingji's heart almost jumped from his throat. Accepted our gifts? He repeated in a mutter. Remember, Sichuan was where those 2 guys came from. And Yu, Master Yu is the last name of one of those guys, the guy that he killed. I haven't really told you much about the business of the escort house, Lin Jaenan went on. You wouldn't have understood anyway, but you are growing up fast, and the heavy burden of running the escort house will slowly shift onto your shoulders. It's time for you to start taking a larger part in the business of the escort house. Son, we've been in the escort business for 3 generations. We have been able to expand to today's scale and become the largest and most renowned escort house south of the Yangtze River. How did we accomplish this? First, because of the great fame of your great-grandfather. Second, because of the fighting techniques our ancestors have handed down generation after generation. Anyone mentioning the name of Fortune Prestige Escort House will give a thumbs up and say, what fortune, what prestige? In the escorting business, reputation counts for 20%. Real fighting skills count for 20%, but the final 60% has to depend on your relationship with both the unorthodox and orthodox members of the martial world. A couple of things here. So this Fortune Prestige Escort House, okay? This family, apparently their great-grandfather has this this martial arts style that's really, really good. That's really good. Everyone wanted it. He was like, he was dominating the world, right? With his martial arts, right? So that martial arts is being is being handed down through this family, okay? And his father has that, and Lin Pingji, the son, is learning it. Okay? So now here it says the unorthodox and orthodox members of the martial world. That translation is kind of weird, kind of iffy. So in the martial world, in this book, it's divided into two sides, right? One is the unorthodox, and the other is the orthodox. Orthodox is kind of like the light side and the dark side. The orthodox side is like the people who are generally seen as the good guys. They're like they're the goody two shoes. They help people. They're honorable. They do all this. They seem like good guys, right? The unorthodox is the dark side, where they're generally seen as the bad guys, right? They don't follow the rules. They can kill. They wouldn't kill people without any qualms, right? So there are the two sides. Thing is, you know, that's very general. That's a generalization. Some members can be good or bad, and they can be part of both, right? But the orthodox side is generally seen as the goody two shoes, and the unorthodox generally seen as the bad guy. Nikki says Twitch lets you change the color of your name. Is that the only? That the only? That the only advantage? Adam Atlas says technically 3 unorthodox can also be the gray sect, which is good, too good or bad. Yeah, that's right. Lawful and rogue. Yeah, that works, I think. Yeah, so orthodox are usually lawful, and unorthodox, they don't really care about the law, generally. All right. Blowing out another cloud of smoke, he continued. Think about it. Our wagons have to pass through 10 different provinces. If we had to fight every time we went on a job, how many men would we have lost? Even if we won every single time, it would be like in the old saying, to kill 1,000 enemies, sacrifice 800 of your own. If any of our escorts were injured or killed on the job, the money we earned wouldn't even be enough to cover the compensation to their families. Soon we would run out of our own savings as well. That's why we escorts have to know all the right people and spare no expense to cultivate relationships. Connections are even more powerful than the fist power. Yes, father, Lin Pingji answered. Under normal circumstances, he would have become quite excited and would have asked many questions upon hearing about the business end of running the escort house. Yet today, all he could think of were the words Western Sichuan and Master Yu. His heart pounded wildly. Your father's kung fu is surely not as good as either your grandfather's or your great grandfather's. Lin Jinan exhaled another cloud of smoke. Right, so yeah, the great grandfather had really good martial arts, but for some reason, it's being passed down through the generations, and his descendants are just not as good, and we don't know why yet. But my management skills are definitely better than either of theirs. Your great grandfather founded the business in 4 provinces, from Fujian to Canton in the south, and north to Zhejiang and Jiangsu. I expanded the business to 6 more provinces: Shandong, Hebei, Hunan, Hubei, Jiangxi, and Guangxi. What's the secret here? Let me tell you. Make many friends and few enemies. Our escort house is called Fortune Prestige. Remember, fortune comes before prestige. This means fortune is more important than prestige. Fortune will only come if you make many friends and few enemies. If we change it to prestige and fortune, wouldn't that mean we would ride roughshod Wouldn't that mean we would ride roughshod over above others for glory? Ha ha. Lin Pingqi forced a hollow laugh, which was devoid of amusement. All right, I need more water, guys. Need more water. Give me 1 minute. We're gonna take a break. Ugh. All right. Beer is not a good thing to drink while reading. It makes my throat all dry. Player one. Hey, player one. How's it going? Hey, Tamara. Tamara Heck. Lloyd says you're too young to grunt when you sit down. Thanks for calling me young. Joel says drink more beer. I can't. It makes my throat dry. All right. Beer or tea will make you pee like a racehorse. Right. That was a fast poo. It was very fast. All right. See what I do for you guys? I poo very fast. All right. I think I'm good now. Lin Pingji forced a hollow laugh, which was devoid of amusement. Lin Zhenan didn't notice his son's uneasiness and went on. The old saying says covet Sichuan after capturing Gansu, but for us it's covet Sichuan after capturing Hubei. Our escort route starts from Fujian, goes west through Jiangxi and Hunan to stop at Hubei. But why shouldn't we continue all the way west, up the river into the province of Sichuan? Sichuan is called the Heavenly Kingdom. There are lots of rich people there. If we made it through to Sichuan, we could go either north to Shanxi or south into Yunnan or Guizhou. Our business would increase by at least another 30%. But Sichuan is a place of crouching tigers and hidden dragons. To do business there, we would have to have connections with the two schools, Qingcheng and Eimei. For the past 3 years, I have been sending valuable gifts to the Pine Wind Temple of the Qingcheng Sword School and the Golden Peak Temple of the Eimei School every spring and autumn, but neither school would accept our overtures. Priest Radiance, the headmaster of the Eimei School, would at least greet the gift bearers, thank them, and invite them to a vegetarian meal, then return the gifts without even breaking the seal. Master Yu of the Pine Wind Temple was even trickier. His apprentices would stop the gift bearers halfway up the mountain, claiming that Master Yu was in exclusive meditation at the moment and unable to see any guests. They would also claim that they already had everything they needed in the temple, so that there was no need for any gifts. Our escorts couldn't even tell which direction the gate of the Pine Wind Temple faced, let alone meet Master Yu. Then, when they came back, they were infuriated. If it weren't because of the specific orders I gave them before the trip to behave with restraint and respect, regardless of how they were ill-treated, they would probably have called them all manner of names and started several fights. After these words, Lin Zhenan stood up, a proud smile blossoming his face. And guess what? At long last, Master Yu has accepted our gifts, and has even sent 4 of his apprentices to return the courtesy and thank us in person. 4 apprentices? Not 2? Lin Pingji asked breathlessly. Yes, 4 apprentices, Lin Zhenan answered. Master Yu is really handling this matter quite solemnly. This will make our escort house look especially good. I've just sent messengers to our branches in Jiangxi, Hunan, and Hubei, informing them of the news and told them to treat these 4 as our noble guests. Father, when people from Sichuan speak, do they usually call others son of a turtle? Lin Pingji suddenly blurted out a question. Only bumpkins from Sichuan speak that way. There are rustics everywhere, and of course they are not taught of proper manners. Listen to our own henchmen talk when they gamble. They're no better. Why do you ask? Lin Zhenan chuckled. No reason, Lin Pingji replied quickly. When the 4 Qingcheng apprentices come, you should spend more time with them. Watch and learn how students of prestigious schools act. Making friends with them will surely benefit you later on in life. The father and son chatted some more. Lin Pingji couldn't make up his mind if he should tell his father about the incident at the wine shop, and finally decided to tell his mother first. After dinner, the family of 3 remained in the back hall to converse. Lin Zhenan was having a discussion with his wife as to what gift to get for her brother's birthday in June. It would be tricky to find something appropriate that the Golden Blade Wang family in Luoyang would hold in esteem. A sudden uproar came from outside, and moments later, several people rushed into the room. Where are your manners? Lin Zhenan frowned. 3 henchmen had burst in. The man in front muttered in a disturbed tone. Chief Master! What's the matter? Lin Zhenan snapped in annoyance. Bai is dead. Henchman Chen blurted out the words. Lin Zhenan was slightly astounded. Who killed him? Gambling must have led to the Who killed him? Gambling must have led to the quarrel. He became quite angered, thinking how hard it was to regulate the roughnecks of the escort house. They would often fight and draw their knives for no reason, and as they were headquartered in the capital of the province, it could be rather troublesome if someone were killed on their premises. No, it is not like that, Chen explained hastily. Xiao Li was going to the outhouse just a minute ago and saw Bai lying in the garden nearby. His body was already cold, but there's not a single wound on the body. No one knows how he died. Must have been some kind of a disease. The plot thickens. Oh, okay. ZH sound equals sh sound. Yeah, that doesn't help. Z, sh, z. Lin Zhenan. Slightly astounded. This book has weird phrases. Yeah, so this is a fan translation, okay? So, sometimes there are problems. So sometimes there are problems with the translation. But it's good enough, okay? Amanda Wong says something bad's about to happen. Right. Lin Zhenan breathed out a sigh of relief and relaxed immediately. Let me go have a look. He started walking toward the garden and Lin Pingji followed behind. When they arrived at the yard, a number of escorts and henchmen had already gathered around the body. Seeing the arrival of the chief master, the crowd moved back. Lin Zhenan took a close look at Bai's corpse. Bai's clothes had been unbuttoned, and clearly there were no bloodstains. No wounds at all? Lin Zhenan asked Escort Ju, who stood next to him. I've examined the body carefully, and there's not a single wound anywhere on the body. It does not look like poison either. Escort Ju replied, which Lin Zhenan acknowledged with a nod. Tell Dong, the bookkeeper, to arrange a funeral for Bai, and don't forget to send 100 taels of silver to his family, Lin Zhenan directed. The death of a henchman due to illness was not something Lin Zhenan would pay much attention to. Didn't Bai go hunting with you today? He asked Lin Pingji after walking back to the living room. Yes, he did. He looked fine when we got back. Who'd think he would catch a deadly disease so unexpectedly? Lin Pingji replied. Many things in this world are like that, Lin Zhenan commented. Whether good or evil, they always happen in an unexpected manner. I've always wanted to open the escort trail through the province of Sichuan. I thought it would have taken at least another 10 years. Who would have expected that Master Yu would somehow be prompted by some sudden impulse to not only accept my gifts, but to also send 4 apprentices such a long way to thank us. Father, although the Qincheng Sword School is a well-known, well-renowned school, our Fortune Prestige Escort House is fairly famous too. We have been sending gifts to Sichuan year after year. It's only natural for Master Yu to send people our way to show his gratitude as well. What do you know? Lin Chenan chuckled. Qincheng and Eimei have been around for hundreds of years. They've had many outstanding disciples in their schools. Maybe they aren't as famous as Shaolin or Wudang, but but they certainly have enough fame to be placed next to Songshang, Taishang, Hengshang, Huashang, and Hengshang of the Five Mountains Sword Alliance. Shaolin is the most famous martial arts school. And they're Buddhists, they're Buddhist monks. That's the Shaolin Temple. And Wudang is the second most famous, and they're Taoists. Right, so that's Shaolin and Wudang. And then the Five Mountains Sword Alliance. So this is 5 schools, 5 sword schools, and they're like a confederation of 5 schools, and each of the schools are on one mountain, right? So Shan is the mountain. Shan means mountain. So it's these 5 schools, and they're on 5 mountains. They're part of an alliance. And this is weird because Hengshang and Hengshang, they sound the same. I think in Chinese they're the same sounds, but so they differentiate. They differentiate it with a dash. Thing is, like, one of them is north and one of them is south, but we don't know. I don't know which one is which. Weird. Joel Bridge, thanks, Joel. Brother, do we see cultivator later? Is there cultivation? I guess there is. But this is not like a cultivation story, right? It's more of a wuxia. So, so they're not. They can do martial arts, but they're not like super godly powerful. Your great-grandfather, Sir Yuan Tu, founded the 72 moves of evil resisting sword art. So this is the great martial arts, right? That their great-grandfather had. This set of sword techniques shocked the entire martial arts society and gained him great fame. You can say that he had never met his match in swordplay. After this sword style was passed on to your grandfather, its eminence declined. It was then passed on to me, and I am afraid that it has declined even more in my hands. The Lin family had only one child in each generation for the last 3 generations. We don't even have any apprentices. With only you and me, we really don't have the same kind of manpower that those other schools have. We could gather all the people from our escort houses in the 10 provinces, then we could take on any of them: Shaolin, Wudang, Eimei, Qincheng, or the Five Mountains Sword Alliance. Linpingji declared. Lin Jianan was amused. Son, it's all right to say something like that when you are talking to me, but if you had said those words to an outsider, you'd get into a lot of trouble. The 84 escorts we have at our 10 escort houses each has his own specialties. Of course, when we all gather together, we aren't afraid of anyone. But what do we gain by beating other people? It is well said that manners and amicability make great fortunes. It is especially true for us in the escort business. What are we going to lose by being humble while the others go around showing off? Oh no! Escort Zhang is dead too! Somebody suddenly yelled from outside. Lin Jianan and Lin Pingqi were both dumbstruck. Lin Pingqi jumped out of his chair and muttered, "They're back for It took him great effort to finally swallow the word revenge back down his throat. Lin Jianan was already on his way out and didn't catch what Lin Pingqi had just said. Henchman Chen rushed in and yelled incoherently, Chief Master, trouble! Escort Zhang's spirit is possessed by the Sichuan demon too. Stop this nonsense. What Sichuan demon? Lin Jianan roared with a stern face. Sir, the demon, the man from Sichuan, was already ferocious when he was alive, so of course he would be more terrifying after death, Chen said lamely. Seeing the chief master's hard countenance, he dared not continue, and only looked to Lin Pingji with a mixed expression of fear and grief. Now, yep, another dead body. Amanda Wong says, oh, this definitely isn't a disease. Yeah, doesn't look like a disease to me. Although maybe it's spread, right? Maybe it's corona. Maybe they had corona. Several more escorts and henchmen rushed into the hall. Brother Zhang died in the stable, one escort answered with a frown. He died in exactly the same way as henchman Bai. There wasn't a single wound on his body, and no bleeding could be found from any aperture. No swelling on his face either. Maybe they became haunted by some kind of demon when they went hunting with the young master. Lin Zhenan snorted. I've lived all my life without ever seeing either a ghost or a demon. Let's go have a look. He walked out of the hall and into the stable. Escort Zhang's body lay on the ground, his hands still holding onto a saddle. Apparently, he had been taking the saddle off before his sudden demise. There was no sign of any struggle. As it was already dark outside, Lin Zhenan asked a henchman to hold a lantern while he examined Lord Escort Zhang. He carefully checked all parts of the corpse, including all the major bones, but failed to find any sign of injury, not even a broken finger. Lin Zhenan was not superstitious. When Bai had died suddenly, it was just a strange occurrence. Now that Escort Zhang died in the exact same way, it had to be more than a coincidence. If they died of a plague or some kind of a disease, why were there no red or black spots on the bodies? Could the two deaths have been related to something that happened during his son's hunting trip? He turned around and asked Lin Pingji, besides Escort Zhang and henchman Bai, it was just Escort Shi and he who went hunting with you, right? He indicated henchman Chen. Lin Pingji nodded. You two come with me, Lin Zhenan said firmly. Turning to another henchman, he instructed, go ask Escort Shi to report to the East Hall immediately. I want to have a word with him. Soon the three arrived at the East Hall. What really happened? Lin Zhenan asked his son. Lin Pingji hastily confessed and told his father all about the trouble he had at the wine shop. How he went in for some drinks, how the two men from Sichuan accosted the girl, which resulted in the fight, how the fight broke out and the man attempted to push Lin's head down to kowtow, how he pulled out a dagger and killed that person, how they buried the body in the back garden and gave old man Sa some silver to keep him quiet. He told everything there was to tell without leaving anything out. Good job, Lin Pingji, for giving us that summary. The more Lin Zhenan heard, the more concerned he became. But still, getting into a fight with an outsider and having it result in his death was not the end of the world. He listened to the whole story from his son stolidly. When Lin Pingji finished, he pondered in silence for a moment and then asked, did these two fellows ever mention which clan or gang they belonged to? Not a word, Lin Pingji answered quickly. When they spoke or did things, did you notice anything unusual? Lin Zhenan inquired further. I didn't see anything unusual. The fellow Yu... Did you say the man's name was Yu? Lin Zhenan interrupted. Yes, I heard the other guy calling him Brother Yu, but it might have been something else. They had accents, so I couldn't understand them too well. It can't be. It can't be a coincidence. Master Yu said he was going to send someone over. How could they have arrived at Fuzhou so quickly? They don't have wings. Lin Zhenan shook his head and muttered to himself. Father, you don't think those two were from the Qinchang sword school, do you? Lin Pingji's voice quivered. Lin Zhenan did not answer. Instead, he performed a move and asked, when you attacked him using this move from the universal hands, how did he fend it off? He couldn't fend off that move, so I slapped him hard on the face, Lin Pingji replied. Good, very good, excellent, Lin Zhenan smiled. The room had been filled with foreboding, but now that Lin Zhenan showed a smile, Lin Pingji felt quite relieved and could not help smiling himself. When you hit him with this move, how did he respond? Lin Zhenan asked again, performing more different moves as he spoke. I was infuriated at the time. I can't remember too well. I think I punched him in the chest. Hearing that, Lin Jianan became even more relaxed. Very good, very good. Your move should have hit him that way. If he couldn't even block a simple move like that, he couldn't be a close relative to the famous Master Yu of the Qincheng Sword School, Pine Wind Temple. He kept saying very good, but he wasn't complimenting his son's fighting skill. He was just relieved. There must have been many people named Yu in the province of Sichuan. If this particular Yu could not even beat his son, he must have been a terrible fighter. Such a rotten fighter definitely had nothing to do with the Qincheng Sword School. He kept tapping on the table with his right middle finger as he pondered upon the situation. How did he grab a hold of your head? He asked. And Lin Pingqi demonstrated how he couldn't move when his head was held. Henchman Chen also felt much encouraged. Bai was trying to poke him with the hunting fork, he interrupted, but the fork was knocked out by the guy's back kick, and then Bai was also kicked down. Lin Jianan felt a shock run through his body. He asked immediately. He kicked Bai with a back kick, and then kicked the fork out of his hands? How did he perform those kicks? It was something like this. Chen grabbed the back of a chair and threw a reverse kick with his right foot, then jumped and threw another back kick with his left foot. These two kicks looked very clumsy, almost like a horse kicking back its hind legs. Lin Pingqi watched the two clumsy kicks and could not help laughing. Dad, see? But then seeing the fearful expression on his father's face, he stopped abruptly. These two kicks seemed to be the unique shadowless kick maneuver of the Qincheng. Son, how did he perform the kicks exactly? Lin Chengnan inquired. My head was held at that moment. I couldn't see how he kicked, Lin Pingqi said. Of course, I'd better ask Escort Shi. Lin Chengnan exited the room and yelled, Where is Escort Shi? Why isn't he here yet? Two henchmen came over and reported that nobody had yet to be able to find Escort Shi. Feeling the uneasiness growing inside him rapidly, Lin Jianan paced up and down in the garden hall, thinking, if the two kicks were indeed the shadowless kick technique, then even if the fellow was not a close relative of Master Yu, he must have had some kind of connection with the Qincheng Sword School. If that's the case, then who was he? He finally decided to check it out himself. So he ordered the henchmen, Go get Escort Kui and Escort Chi. Escort Kui and Chi were the careful types, both experienced and prudent, and well trusted by Lin Jianan. Having heard about the sudden death of Escort Zheng and the disappearance of Escort Shi, they were already waiting outside the hall. As soon as they heard their names called, both walked into the room. We need to go check something out, Lin Jianan explained. Escort Kui and Escort Ji, my son, and Chen, come with me. Lin Pingqi leading the way, the group of 5 rode out of town and headed north. Soon they arrived at the small wine shop. The door of the shop was shut. Right, so they go back to that restaurant, that wine shop, I guess, to investigate. Old man Sa, open the door. Lin Pingqi pounded on the door and called out. He knocked and knocked, but there was no response. Escort Kui signaled to Lin Jianan that they should bash down the door. After getting a nod from Lin Jianan, he struck the door with both hands. With a resounding crack, the door's bolt snapped, and the swinging doors squeaked back and forth on the rusty hinges. Escort Kui pulled Lin Pingqi to the side as soon as he forced the door open. They waited, until they were sure that there was no sound coming from within. Lighting a fire, they entered and then lit an oil lamp sitting on the table along with 2 lanterns. They searched both the interior and exterior of the shop, yet could find no one. However, blankets, trunks, and other everyday accessories were still within the shop. The old fellow got scared. There was a murder here, and the body was even buried right in the back garden. He was afraid of getting into trouble, so he just ran off, Lin Jianan said with a nod. He walked into the garden and pointed to a hoe that was leaning by the wall. He commanded, Chen, dig up the body. They're going to dig up the body. Dig up the body. Chen was clearly convinced that the whole crisis had been caused by demons, so after digging only a short while, he felt his limbs getting stiffer and stiffer. He felt so weak that his legs started to give out. Utterly useless. How can you even call yourself a henchman? Escort G yelled at him sternly. He handed his lantern to Chen, took the hoe from him, then began digging. Not long after, the clothes of the dead body appeared. He dug a little deeper, then levering the hoe beneath the corpse, gave a strong tug. The body was lifted out of the hole. Chen turned his head away, afraid to look, but gasps of shock suddenly came from the other four. Scared to death, Chen dropped the lantern. The light was extinguished, and the garden was enveloped in complete darkness. Lin Pingji's voice quavered when he muttered uneasily, "We definitely buried the Sichuan guy's body. How come? How come?" "Light the lantern," Lin Jinan ordered. He had kept his calm since the strange events started to happen, but now there was fear in his voice. Escort Kui lit the lantern. Lin Jinan bent down to check on the body. Minutes later, he declared, "Same kind of death. Not a single wound at all." Chen finally gathered enough courage to give a glance at the body, and then he screamed, "Escort Shi! It's Escort Shi!" The body they had dug out was that of Escort Shi, and the corpse of the man from Sichuan had vanished. "Something seems strange about this old man, Sa," Lin Jinan said. He grabbed the lantern and hurried back into the room, looking over everything very carefully. He couldn't find anything unusual, even after looking at everything in the room. In the wine jugs, underneath the stoves, in the iron pot, under the table and chairs. Escorts Kui and Ji and Lin Pingji also began examining the different rooms. "Father, come here and look at this," Lin Pingji shouted out suddenly. Following the sound of his son's voice, Lin Jinan found Lin Pingji in the girl's bedroom, holding a green handkerchief in his hand. "Father, how could a poor girl have a handkerchief like this?" Lin Pingji asked, his voice quavered with excitement. Lin Jinan took the handkerchief from Lin Pingji's hands and examined it carefully. A trace of some kind of light but sweet scent soon caught his attention. The handkerchief was very soft and smooth, yet also quite heavy. It was obviously made from high-quality silk. When he looked at it more carefully, he found 3 levels of green thread sealing the edges of the handkerchief. In one corner, a small red coral branch was embroidered in great detail. "Where did you find this?" Lin Jinan asked. "It fell underneath the corner of the bed. Maybe they didn't see it when they packed and left in such a hurry," Lin Pingji suggested. Lin Jinan put his lantern close to the bed and searched, but found nothing else. He muttered, "You said that the girl was very ugly. I suppose she wasn't wearing a very expensive clothing, but was she dressed very neat?" "I didn't pay much attention. I am sure her dress wasn't filthy, because I would have noticed when she poured wine for me," Lin Pingji replied eagerly. "Brother Kui, what do you think?" Lin Jinan turned to Escort Kui. "I think this old man and the young girl must be involved with the deaths of Escort Shi and Zheng and Henchman Bai. It's even possible that they were the actual killers," Escort Kui concluded. "The 2 fellows from Sichuan must have been in on it too. Otherwise, why would they move the dead body?" Escort Ji added. "But that fellow Yu was harassing the girl. I wouldn't have called him names otherwise. They can't be working together," Lin Pingji objected. "Young master," Escort Kui explained, "you may not realize it, but we are living in a very dangerous world, and that people may intentionally set traps in which others may fall. It happens all the time. 2 people pretend to fight, and when someone comes to try and separate them, the 2 will suddenly turn on him." "Chief Master, what's your opinion on this?" Escort G asked. The old man and the young girl must have come for us. I am just not sure if those 2 fellows from Sichuan were in league with them," Lin Jinan replied. "Father, didn't you say that the Master Yu of Pinewind Temple sent 4 people over? There were exactly 4 people," Lin Pingji muttered restlessly. These words struck Lin Jinan like a hammer. The Fortune Prestige Escort House has always known great respect to the Qincheng Sword School and has never done anything to displease them. Why would Master Yu send people to stir up trouble? Why? He muttered to himself. The four just looked at each other in silence. No one could think of anything to say. After a long while, Lin Jinan finally spoke. Let's move Escort Chi's body inside first. When we get back to the escort house, don't mention this to anyone. We don't want the authorities to know about this and cause any unnecessary trouble. The Lin family respects others and wants no trouble, but that doesn't mean we are cowards who don't fight back. It's pronounced sway. Oh, sway. Got it. Thank you. Thank you, je ne sais quoi. Chief Master, Escort G agreed heartily. Like the old saying goes, keeping an army for a year just for one battle, and all of us will fight for the honor of the escort house. Many thanks, Lin Jinan nodded. The party headed back to town. Just when they were about to reach the escort house, they saw a big crowd gathering in front of the gate. Countless torches lit the street, turning the night into day. Lin Jinan's heart missed a beat. He rushed forward. Chief Master is back, several people cried out. Lin Jinan dismounted his horse and saw that his wife, Madame Wang, was extremely angry. Look! Someone is trying to challenge us in our home, she exclaimed. A pair of broken poles lay in the street. Each had a flag attached to the end. These were the flags of the escort house. Someone had cut down the two flag poles and left them lying on the ground. The broken ends had very smooth cuts, apparently were cut down with a very sharp blade. Madame Wang was not carrying a weapon, so she drew Lin Jinan's longsword out from the sheath at his waist. With two sharp tearing sounds, she cut the two flags from the broken flagpoles. Picking the flags up, she went inside through the gate. Escort Sway, Escort Sway, cut the stumps of the two flagpoles down, Lin Jinan instructed. It won't be an easy task to take down the Fortune Prestige Escort House. Nikki says, feels like I'm in a never-ending Linfamy video, and I'm not complaining. Yeah. I don't know when this is going to end, guys. When I can't read anymore, which is probably soon. My throat is so dry. Where am I? Damn them! What a bunch of cowards they are, only daring to play these dirty tricks when the chief master is not at home, Escort G cursed. Lin Jinan beckoned to his son, and the two went into the house, while Escort G poured out even more profanities. The father and son went into the east hall. Madame Wang had already spread the flags on two tables. On one of the flags, the eyes of the yellow lion had been cut out, leaving two empty holes. On the other flag, the word prestige had been cut out from the name Fortune Prestige Escort House. Lin Jinan was a patient man with an even temper, but even he could not stand these insults any longer. He struck the table with a resounding blow. One leg of the sandalwood table broke with a crack. Father, it's my entire fault. I got the family into this situation, Lin Pingji trembled. Yes, the Lin family has killed someone. And so what? If I ever saw a punk like him, I'd kill him too, Lin Jinan roared. Good job, Dad. Who got killed? Madame Wang asked in surprise. Pingji, tell your mother about it, Lin Jinan asked. Lin Jinan said. So Lin Pingji told Madame Wang everything that had happened, how he killed the man from Sichuan, how they found the body of Escort Chi in the garden of the wine shop, and so forth. Madame Wang had heard about the mysterious deaths of henchman Bai and Escort Zheng. At the news of the death of Escort Chi, she exploded. Husband, how can we let others push the Fortune Prestige Escort House around like this? Let's gather our people and go seek justice. from the Qincheng Sword School in Sichuan. We can also invite my father and my brothers to join us. Go mother, too. Go mom. Since her youth, Madame Wang was known for having a bad temper. As a maiden, she had no qualms with pulling out a knife for even the smallest of disagreements. Her family, the Golden Blade Wang family, was a large and powerful family in the city of Luoyang. Even everyone would defer to her out of respect for her father, the unbeatable Golden Blade Wang Yuanba. Even now, after her son had grown up, her hot temper had not improved much. We are still not sure who our enemy is. It might not even be the Qincheng Sword School, but whoever they are, I doubt they'd stop at 2 broken flagpoles and 2 dead escorts, Lin Zhenan replied when he was suddenly interrupted by the bellowing voice of Madame Wang. What else do they want? Lin Zhenan cast a side glance at Lin Pingji, and Madame Wang understood instantly. Her heart started pumping fiercely, and her face paled from fear. I cause all the trouble. A true man would take full responsibility for his own action. I won't be afraid. Lin Pingji's words were brave enough, but the trembling voice gave him away. They'd have to pass through me first, before they can get to you, Madame Wang exclaimed. The banner of the Fortune Prestige Escort House has been held high for 3 generations. We've never lost our glory. She turned to Lin Zhenan. If we can't even settle this little problem, what good are we? How can we look at ourselves in the mirror for the rest of our lives? Lin Zhenan nodded to Madame Wang in agreement. I'll send people to search the town for new faces. Meanwhile, I'll have more people on patrol around the escort house. You wait here with Pingji. Don't let him run around by himself. Yes, I understand, Madame Wang acknowledged. The couple both understood well that Lin Pingji would undoubtedly become the next target. The enemy was hidden in the dark, and they themselves were exposed under the light. Even if Lin Pingji only stepped out of the escort house for a minute, he would be in great danger. Lin Zhenan walked to the main hall and gathered the escorts, sending some people to go check out the town, and instructing the rest to patrol the escort house. All the escorts had heard about the situation. The flagpole of the escort house being cut down was a slap in the face of each and every one. Infuriated, they had already dressed themselves in uniforms and taken up arms. Upon the command from the chief master, they instantly obeyed the order wholeheartedly. Lin Zhenan felt a measure of relief as he witnessed the entire escort house working in unison, preparing to defend the honor of the escort house. Walking back inside, he spoke to Lin Pingji. Pingji, your mom hasn't been well rested. Pingji, your mom hasn't been well for the last couple of days. The enemy will be soon coming. Why don't you move into the room outside her bedroom to guard her? I don't need, Madame Wang rejected, but before finishing the sentence, she suddenly realized what her husband had really meant. He wasn't asking their son to guard her. Instead, he was really trying to have their son close by, so they could protect him. Their son was a young man with very sensitive pride. If they had asked him to hide behind them, he would probably feel humiliated and go straight out to challenge the enemy into a fight. That would be too dangerous, so she immediately swallowed the second half of the sentence down her throat. That's right, Pingji. Mom is having joint problems these days. Both my arms and legs feel weak. Your father needs to take care of the escort house and can't be accompanying me all the time. If the enemy gets in, I won't be able to fight them off. I'll stay with you, Lin Pingji stated without hesitation. A lot happened. Okay. So to summarize, Lin Pingji killed a guy, and they buried him. But then now he's back at home, and then now suddenly people in their family are being killed one by one, and they think that Lin Pingji, the major character that we're seeing right now, Lin Pingji is going to be the next one. Okay, so his parents are trying to protect. I need more water, guys. I need more water. All right. We'll be right back in like 5 minutes. No, 1 minute. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. I think this chapter is almost done. Chapter is almost done. And so is my voice. My voice is almost done. Jigsaw plays. Hi, Jigsaw. Amanda Wong, thanks for staying around. Thanks for sticking around. Small Wolfie, thanks for sticking around. Crypto 66. Ah, you're now invested in the story, aren't you? Mr. Dino, I hope you're doing good during this pandemic too. Tercero says need elevator music. Hmm. Might work. I'll think about it. All right, I think we're almost done, guys. Almost done. Let's get through this. Do it. That night, Lin Pingji slept on the bed just outside his parents' room. The couple left the door open. Placing their weapons right next to their pillows, they slept dressed so that they could jump up to fight at any time. The night passed uneventfully until dawn when someone outside the window called in a low voice, "Young master! Young master!" Lin Pingji had not been able to sleep for the most of the night and had just fallen asleep, so he didn't wake up. "What's the matter?" Lin Jinan asked. "The young master's horse! The horse is dead," the man outside answered. Lin Pingji loved his horse very much, so as soon as the horse's groom found out about the calamity, he rushed in to tell Lin Pingji. Roused by the words, Lin Pingji sat up in bed. "Let me go look." Lin Jinan knew that once again something had gone terribly wrong, so he hurried to the stable with Lin Pingji. The body of the horse lay on the ground. It had been dead for quite some time. As happened before, there was not a single wound on the corpse. "Did you hear any noise last night?" Lin Jinan asked. "No, sir," the groom answered. "Don't get upset. I'll see to it that you receive another good colt." Lin Jinan patted Lin Pingji gingerly on the shoulder as Lin Pingji quietly caressed the horse's corpse, tears emerging from his eyes. That sucks. That was a beautiful horse, too. All of a sudden, henchman Chen burst into the stables, shouting in panic, Chief Master, it's terrible, horrible. All those the escorts were killed by the demon." "What did you say?" Lin Jinan and Lin Pingji asked in unison, their voices filled with incredulity. "Dead! All dead!" Henchman Chen kept muttering uncontrollably. "Who is dead?" Lin Pingji. "Who is dead?" Lin Pingji demanded angrily. He grabbed Chen's collar and shook him hard. Young master, dead," Chen mumbled dazedly. Hearing the words "young master dead," Lin Jinan was most disturbed, but he did not want to yell at Chen for saying those ominous words, afraid to show his uneasiness. "Where's the chief master? We'd better report this to him fast." A man's urgent voice floated in from the outside. "The demon is so vicious that what can we do?" Another voice asked timidly. "I am over here. What's going on?" Lin Jinan shouted loudly toward them, who in turn rushed over. It was an escort, followed by 3 henchmen. "Chief Master, not a single escort we sent out made it back," the leading escort said. Lin Jinan had expected news of someone's death when he heard the commotion, but he had sent out a total of 23 escorts and henchmen to gather information last night. How could all of them have been wiped out? Well, are you sure they're dead?" he asked hurriedly. "Maybe they're still investigating and just haven't gotten back in time." The escort shook his head. "We have already found 17 bodies. 17 bodies? Lin Jinan and Lin Pingji cried out in unison. Fear written all over his face, the escort confirmed with a nod. Yes, 17 bodies. Among them were escorts Fu, Qian, and Wu. All of the bodies are in the front hall at this very moment. Yes! We did it. We did it, you guys. That was 1 chapter, I think. Wait. Yes! That was 1 chapter. Why does it say chapter 2 and then chapter 1, part 2? But I'm calling it. That's 1 chapter. Woo! So how did you guys like the story so far? This is one of my favorites. It does end on a cliffhanger. Player 1, welcome back. Joel, yep, that is pretty long. Elizabeth, thank you. Yeah, the entire family. A lot of people died. My throat is like, it has no saliva. It's totally dry. How do voice actors do this? Chapter 2, I think we're gonna set chapter 2 for next week at the same time at 5:30 Pacific time. Yeah. So this is the first time I've ever done a live stream. So you guys let me know like what I need to improve. What I need to do. Nikki, yes, same time next week. Jesse Gutierrez says, I'm not used to this long of a chapter for Eastern Fantasy. Yeah, the chapters are pretty long, huh? Discord server? The problem with that is that I need to manage it. I need to, like, I don't know. We'll see. I'll think about it. More water, less beer. No, like I started out drinking beer, right, in the beginning. But look, it's still full. I drank a couple of sips, and then my throat got all dry. So I was like, I stopped drinking the beer. How many chapters does it have? Let's see how many chapters this has, okay? Oh, looks like, okay, guys, looks like that was just chapter 1. No, that was just part 1 of chapter 1. That was half of chapter 1. There are 40 chapters. Yeah, 40 chapters. Each one of them that long, I believe. Jennery Ochoa. Thanks. Yeah, it pulls, the story pulls you in, huh? Yeah, so I'm just gonna keep reading. I'll just keep reading this. Maybe, yeah, I think we'll do it every Sunday, okay? All right. And that's not 40 streams. That's 71 streams. That's 71 streams. I think by the time we get to 71, there will be no one left on the stream. No one will be listening. Okay, guys, I think we're done. Thanks for joining. Let me know what I can do to improve, and I'll see you next week. Bye, guys.